sensing this danger. This is the greatest showman! He is floating on air now!
It's the Multicultural AFL Football Show with Venessa, Harbir and Fouad Andrewas.
Hello and welcome to the NEMBC's Multicultural AFL Footy Show. I am Venessa and on tonight's panel we have Harbir and Fouad. Hello guys.
Hello Venessa.
This week there were some close games and a blowout from the Gold Coast Suns which were swamped by Brisbane. Friday Night Football from Marvel, Geelong overcame a persistent but inaccurate St Kilda to win by 21 points, and on Saturday the Swans thrashed Collingwood by 13 points in a low-scoring game. North Melbourne scored their first win by 7 points against Hawthorn, and Brisbane decimated the Gold Coast Suns, taking victory by 73 points. At Marvel, Richmond was lucky to beat the GWS Giants by 4 points, and the Western Bulldogs put another Premiership favourite to the sword, defeating Port Adelaide by 19 points. Essendon narrowly defeated Fremantle by 7 points. Melbourne, still undefeated, and put away an injury-prone Carlton by 26 points, and West Coast in Perth rolled the Adelaide Crows by 5 goals. What are your thoughts, Harbir, on the last weekend?
Well, I would say St Kilda was a Geelong game. St Kilda, they're doing everything right besides just the kicking goals at the moment, especially in that game. Don't know what has happened with that team. I know that Brett Red, the coach, have sort of come up with the issues of that they didn't get too many free kicks. But I believe like all the free kicks and everything, they in the end, if you don't score, they're not going to matter.
Well, they make to pay the price.
Yeah.
You know, like when you have 7-0, you can't score in the first quarter, and they're all inside 50. So that's not acceptable. And then from second quarter to the last quarter, they've only scored 2 goals, 6 points. So you can't win a game like that, and especially when you score 5 goals in a whole game with 17 points. So other teams will come and
take advantage of that.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, like the pressure was there. That St Kilda is known for that, but with the inaccuracy, I think, especially against a team like Geelong, you won't get a second chance the way they are performing. Okay, if there's any other team, they might get you another chance, but with Geelong or any other good teams, they won't give you any other chance, like to come back or so. And well, in the other game with Sydney and Collingwood, I think Collingwood, we know that they are in disarray at the moment, and with the Sydney at the home ground, I think that's what we were expecting. But still, the pressure they put on, and a lot of things they did right as well, Collingwood. But in the end, I think it was just too much. Sydney this year, the way they're playing, I think it's not going to be a team which is half prepared or having injuries or any other less of a game plan. They won't be able to stand against Sydney this year.
Well, looking at the game, Collingwood scored 28 points. 26 points in the first quarter, and they finished the game with 42 points. So if you look at that, it's only 12 points in the last 3 quarters. That's not acceptable. When you score 5-12, you can't win. As I said before, you can't win footy games at AFL level. So, Venessa, a question for you. Nathan Buckley, where do you see him this year? Is he struggling?
Well, it's been a very tough year for Collingwood, and I don't see him signing further contracts with Collingwood. It's been tough, and with a Collingwood season with 2 wins and 7 losses, it's been very tough for them. So I don't know. I don't see him in the future with the team.
Well, you can say that there are a lot of things like Richmond has shown us the way in that case where they kept Hardwick and they changed everyone around him. So if they really like Buckley, the board is on, they have the trust in him, they might do that. This is what the experts are saying at the moment. Or on the other hand, there are a few candidates coming up as well.
But mind you, Nathan has been there for 10 years, and there is no, championships. So we'll move into the next game, which is Hawthorn, North Melbourne. And I believe North Melbourne, they surprised everyone, and they beat Hawthorn by very narrow marginal 7 points. What do you think, Harbir?
Yeah, but the best part for me in that game was it was their coach's birthday and they gave him a perfect gift. On the other hand, I would say Hawks have been doing this to other teams in the games they won. They've come from behind and came on to win the game. But North Melbourne did that. No one would have expected them to do that. So that was a very good win and a very good win for the fans as well. Like as in they will be a bit encouraged to go to
that's the confidence they wanted. So that might just be the start of other games to come. So
yeah. When you're building up a team, these wins matter a lot. So
yes.
we'll see. It might change a little bit. And on the other hand, we were all expecting Brisbane to go as they did against Gold Coast Suns. But I really like the way Stuart Dew has come up after that, and he was kind of like getting emotional as well. And then he accepted that. And they were not there. It wasn't the AFL standard, and to let the other team run over like you, it's totally disastrous. And they are a good side. They've had a few instances where they put up a good show. They really should have done better.
Yeah, but the way the Suns are playing this year is just up and down. And sometimes one week they'll play a great game and they'll beat a top team. And then, I mean, there's nothing wrong of losing a game, Harbir, but to get smashed by 73 points, I think that's, that's telling a story.
That rings you alarm bells, yeah.
Yes.
And surprising to me, I think Richmond, they are just setting up the barometer all the time at the moment. Doesn't matter if there is a system, they're telling everyone if there's a system, the new players coming into that system and they can still win. And they only need like a couple of superstars. And we all know that how many superstars are out at that moment against Richmond. And GWS, the way they are performing, they should have won that one. And Richmond, the never say die attitude till the end or so, I think that's just getting them over the line.
I've got a question for you. Richmond is like, when we have a team like Collingwood or Port Adelaide or Adelaide Crows, they discipline their players. So when you have a player that in your team that he's got a case against him or he's done something wrong, well, Richmond let him play, and guess what? He scored the winning goal.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't know. He just called the key as well, and that will sort of take a pressure off him for his own good. Yep. But I believe it's up to the AFL. They're using their loopholes aside.
Yes.
If it's under investigation, he might not have played. That brings me to our Bulldogs. I mean,
what a game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about that team?
Yeah, now that was a big scalp. I think until there's going to be few more tests coming later on. But Richmond and Port Adelaide, with the initial fixtures, those were the tests. In the one test they couldn't go through, but this defeating Port Adelaide in Adelaide, that was a huge win. And winning on the road for Bulldogs, it tells you that they are a good team who can win premiership this year. So and it was a great game to watch.
Well, the game was in the balance till the third quarter, and it just got blown out of proportion in the because they Port Adelaide managed nine points against 27 points, and in the last quarter they both scored 19 points each. So they lost it in the third quarter, and then of course Western Bulldogs were too good, and they came strong and they won the game.
Just as every expert talks, I think the midfield of Bulldogs sort of got.
But you do know it's a sin to beat an Adelaide team in Adelaide.
Happy to commit that sin. And then we've seen the two teams on sort of rise, Essendon and Fremantle. They put up a show together. As we said before, we're not going to talk about the umpiring things, but it was a good, hard-fought game, and both the teams, it could have gone either way.
Absolutely.
So it was a very close game, and I think the advantage of probably playing at Marvel, I think Essendon sort of got them. That's what Essendon was able to take advantage of, and they were able to win that game. Otherwise, there wasn't much between those teams.
No, that's correct, yes.
Yeah, and Melbourne, can't say much about them.
Undefeated.
They are undefeated.
Stunning job they've done this season, isn't it?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Stunning job of Melbourne just being undefeated until this stage.
Like when we go to the records, when Melbourne wins 9 games plus straight, they win the championship. And they proved that in the 50s and the 60s. I can get the years, but I don't want to say the wrong ones. So, are we about to see Melbourne do it again?
Well, the way things are, there's no doubt, because whatever's thrown to them, so far they've been able to answer that. But as we all know, it's a long season. Yeah. Injuries play a big factor. We don't know. Were you expecting the same with Adelaide? What happened?
No. Well, the Adelaide will be a wooden spoon between Adelaide and North Melbourne. Yeah. It's a fight on that one, so they're both fighting for that.
Yeah, let's see what happens. But I think Adelaide should be better than that.
What I didn't like is the Adelaide coach to come up and say, he's resting. They plan to rest the top player, Walker, Taylor Walker. How can you plan to rest your number one player, the lead scorer in the league, and then you try to rest him in a big match against West Coast? Yeah. We'll rest him the following game because you need him. So I don't know what happened there, but that was a bad tactics to me.
Yep.
Thank you, guys. You are with the Multicultural AFL Footy Show, and we'll be back after the break. Starting from Friday night, all the way from Queensland's Gabba, the Brisbane Lions are ready to face Richmond in what promises to be closely fought-out contest. Saturday, the injury-depleted Carlton will fight it out at the MCG against Hawthorn, and at the Cattery, Geelong takes on the Gold Coast Suns. Fouad, what do you make of those games?
Well, if we look at Brisbane Lions and Richmond, that will be an equal game. Those two teams just, they're going along, and I think it's anybody's game at Lions-Richmond. Carlton, Hawthorn, I would say Carlton is looking good. They're just unlucky, but they've got a lot of injuries, aren't they, Harbir?
Yep.
So Geelong, Gold Coast, that's an easy pick. I would go Geelong, too strong. So,
Now you're right. I think Brisbane, to me, they are improving every game as well. So any other team, I would have said that they will smash them at Gabba. But Richmond, the pressure they've got and the way they play, you can't just say that the other team can just roll over them. But I must say, the way Brisbane are playing at the moment, they are a very good team. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Richmond can't bring the pressure they are known for. Yes. Then there might be a big difference of the goals. Because
agree with you, and Richmond are not the Richmond of last year. Yeah. So they're not exactly the same. So
and Alistair Clarkson, I think he was frustrated in that loss against North Melbourne. So he will definitely come up with some plan against Carlton, and Carlton are vulnerable at the moment. On the other hand, if we look at Carlton, I think this is probably one of their best chances to get a win. So, which I believe that the current players, even if they've got now Cunningham out as well, and which is going to be a big blow to them, but they should go in with full vigor and win this game, and they might come on top.
Well, that will bring me to this question, because we've asked Venessa before about Nathan Buckley, but let's have a look at the list of the top 8 coaches. Alistair Clarkson, 17 years at Hawthorn, 377 games. Damien Hardwick, 12 years, 261. And Chris Scott at Geelong, 11 years, 245 games. John Longmire, 11 years, 244 games. And then we spoke about Buckley. And then Ken Hinkley at Port Adelaide, 187. Adam Simpson, 8 years, 169. And Size Leon Cameron, 8 years, 169. They are safe. What do you think, Alistair Clarkson? Is he going to be at Hawthorn next year?
I don't know if even Alistair Clarkson is safe this year. Also, because Jeff Kennett, there is a school of thought going along that Jeff Kennett can change anything, the way things are. Alistair Clarkson, I think the fact that he showed a lot of emotions in the last game or so, that brings to me that the things are not going to his plan.
Yes.
So he might be feeling the heat too at the moment from everyone. So no doubt he's a great coach and he can take any team anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he's feeling the heat. So he might be on the move too later on. We don't know. If everyone buys into that build-up, then it's fine. Otherwise, he's in big trouble.
Do you have any other coach come to mind that he's struggling this year?
Well, look, David Teague, I would say, like
He's only got a year to go.
But the fact is, like, he's only got 2 years, so we can't really do much. But the thing is, the pattern of their losses are pretty much the same. So that's what creates doubt in your mind, that if he's handling the situation well, if he's got the player's confidence, if he's able to communicate what he wants from the player, because Carlton's not doing that bad, but there's been few games where they've just lost it before because of the different reasons, as in they've let the other teams to go over them.
But finally, the games this year unpredictable. You can't say, well, here's a top team and that's a bottom team, and just like anything is happening, isn't it, Venessa? How do you see that, like a bottom team can come up like North Melbourne and just win a game, which is the first game? So how do you feel about that? How do you see it?
Well, it's footy. Everything can happen, you know.
That's exactly right. That's what I wanted to hear.
Well, there are a lot of games which are played on just emotions.
Yes.
So that can do anything. That can affect on any result as well. Okay, I believe there's another game which is left, as you mentioned before. I think Geelong, they're too strong for Gold Coast. I don't think there's going to be any chance of Gold Coast coming up. All I want is for their own sake, for their fan, for their coach, they come up with a better show than what they've been putting up so far.
Just a reminder, guys, that Brisbane never beat Richmond at the Gabba in the home ground, so it's going to be this will be the first time. Let's see.
Let's see.
I honestly believe that Richmond just always race to the occasion, and it'll be a tough game, but I think Richmond would do the job.
Thank you for the comments, guys. It certainly possesses a lot of questions. But now we are off to a break. See you on the other side. Welcome back. We continue with our preview of round 10 matches. Late afternoon on Saturday, Adelaide at home take on undefeated Melbourne Demons. The Western Bulldogs play St Kilda at Marvel, while over in Perth, Fremantle plays Sydney and the GWS Giants host the West Coast at the Giants Stadium. Collingwood go head-to-head with Port Adelaide, and we know there is no love lost for these two sides. And from Marvel to finish the round off, Essendon met the North Melbourne. Harbir, what are your thoughts?
Well, I would say with the Adelaide-Melbourne game, I think they're still going to go undefeated, the way things are at the moment. And Adelaide, like they've been guilty of not performing at the big stage, unless we look back and where they beat Geelong in the first game. But they haven't been able to found that mojo back to defeat the good teams. They've shown some sort of pockets here and there where we can believe in the forward with their forward line aside. Yeah. But with Melbourne, they're riding too high at the moment, so we're answering everything. So
quite agree with you. There's no chance for Adelaide, even they're playing in Adelaide. I can't see it happening.
Yeah, hopefully they'll put up a good show.
Yeah.
Let's see. And with Bulldogs St Kilda, I think St Kilda will bring in the pressure, that's for sure, as we've seen in the other games as well. So far, Bulldogs been lucky with the last games where Carlton put on that pressure, and they were able to answer that with Port Adelaide as well. When they came up with the whole barrage of goals, they were able to answer that as well. So I just counting on those things, although they'll be tired from the Port Adelaide trip, but I'll give them a chance.
On performance as well, and finishing the shots against the goal, you'll have to go with Western Bulldogs. I can't see St Kilda is improving just overnight, so I reckon Bulldogs will be too strong for St Kilda.
Yeah, and Rowan Marshall is out too, which brings us to the next game, which is Sydney and Fremantle. Just because of it's at Optus Stadium, I'm giving Fremantle a chance because I think they are playing good. Although Sydney will put up a good fight the way they are doing at the moment, and I wouldn't be surprised if they beat Fremantle there, but I'm going to give them the home advantage.
Yes, I reckon being at the West, I'll give it to Freo, and especially with Sydney's performances just up and down. So I'd say Freo will get over the line.
Yeah. Let's see. And Giants versus West Coast. This is probably the opportunity for them to come back for Giants. But with the Toby Green out, I don't see that they will have enough firepower, because he's a player who just doesn't perform himself. He makes other perform too, other people. So if he's out of the team, I think it's going to be very hard for them to come up against West Coast. On the other hand, we see that West Coast are not good travellers. So that will give a lot of hope and confidence to GWS Giants. And because of their home turf, I think they might be able to come up with something special against West Coast. On the book, I would say West Coast is a better team. But again, with the home advantage, I'm still
the
sticking
home
with
advantage.
GWS.
I think the Giants should
Giants should come
have the edge, but that's a very close game, I would say.
Yeah. It can go either way.
Either way.
The way things are. But GWS Giants, they have to prove that they're the real deal as well.
Yes.
Even with the Toby Green, but they've got too many injuries.
Well, they need to start winning some games, otherwise they're not going to get there at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. And Collingwood versus Port Adelaide, I think that's going to be a lot of emotions involved there. I think that game will be played on emotions. And it will be funny to see if Port Adelaide comes up with some sort of tactics again to wear those prison bars at some point, start of the game, end of the game, or something like that.
Maybe on the field at the beginning of the practice or whatever, but
I think they might come up with that. And then as you can probably say, there might be scuffles on the ground and off ground as well. We don't know. Hopefully they keep their boards separate and everyone separate for their own sake, because there's going to be a lot of scuffles going on, a lot of problems going on in between the players, I suppose. And Collingwood hold the advantage, as in they will have their fans backing them up. Port Adelaide has got a point to prove. They will go all out to win this one. I can't wait to watch this game.
Yeah, I would say that will be the game of the round. If you want to watch a footy game and a tough one, and like fighting for your life, that will be the one to watch. Yes. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. There'll be a few players going to tribunal after that straight away. It's going to be a great game.
Yes.
And Essendon North Melbourne. I think North Melbourne good win.
Yes.
Definitely against Hawks. But the way Essendon are performing at the moment, the way they are building slowly their game, you can see that team is on a good build-up at this stage, and I think they would be too strong.
Well,
for
the
North
team
Melbourne.
started to believe in the players started to believe in themselves. So I can see the Essendon just edging in and winning that. North Melbourne, I think that will be a strong opposition for them.
Yeah. Hopefully we have a close match.
Yeah.
Thank you for your comments, guys. The NEMBC Multicultural AFL Footy team with Angela Khan and Daniel De Lorenzis will broadcast on radio the Carlton Hawthorn game in Italian on Saturday afternoon from the MCG. Check your AFL app live and listen. Well, and that brings me to my tip selections, and this week I'm going for Brisbane Lions, Carlton, Geelong, Melbourne, Western Bulldogs, Sydney, West Coast, Port Adelaide and Essendon. That's all we have time for this week. You can also watch us in Adelaide on Channel 44 Friday evenings, on Aurora Foxtel TV at midday Saturday, and on the NEMBC YouTube. I am Venessa Gatica.
I'm Harbir Singh.
I'm Fouad Andreas.
Thank you for watching. See you next week.